Your college professor is a con artist. You probably have experienced this yourself in some undergrad college, private undergrad college before. I'm experiencing it too on my last few semesters, where, especially in a very private setting where there's only 500 students max to the whole private school, there is nepotism and kind of a close connection with professors who all know each other. And they make special relationships with the students. If you think about it, college is kind of like a corporation. I think it is. I mean, other than being public or private, you consent as a consumer to pay the college for you to succeed and get a little piece of paper that says graduation and degree in women's studies, something like that. And as a consumer, you deserve that right to get that degree. Now, you're probably going to have to spend 4 or 5 years of your life obtaining this thing by learning how to write, learning how to read, going through bullshit ideology like far left wing guys, old dead Jewish people. Yeah, I mean, you do get the benefits of learning what you want by electives, but in the end, you always have to fill some kind of strange criteria. And that criteria may go against you as an individual who you are. And so it gets really annoying. There's this fetishization between freshmen in the undergrad school where they first come in at the age of 18 and they look up to a professor almost like a daddy figure, thinking that they're better than their parents or some respect, and then killing their innocence by raping them and fulfilling them with disgusting ideology about the world. I look at it like this. There's a narrative, a meta-narrative, and a meta-meta-narrative. The narrative is just any other normie who wants to go to the bar, to the club, to do decadent things, just to raise a family, have 3 kids, be a good American, and mind your own business. The meta-narrative is simply a liberal, or some kind of feminist, or some kind of person who just, lack of a better term, who woke up and realized that Black Lives Matter is a great cause, or whatnot, and all history makes sense. We gotta cleanse the earth from our privilege. And, that's pseudoscience-y here. Then there's the meta-meta narrative, which would probably be me and everyone on the alt-right and the alt-left and everyone on the internet that has something to say and criticism through blogs and forums and fashy memes and internet stuff and just all out there avant-garde art. Meta-meta narrative. But being in school, normies have to face through a meta-narrative, which was raised up by the baby boomers and now the Gen X's, who are now in these professor positions and assume that the world is like the civil rights movement or like the 70s or 80s where things are postmodern and everyone could be a modernist. I'm going to use advice here, but look up stuff on, counter means for fashy goys. His jokes speak the truth about the undergrad college, speaks the truth about meta-narrative jokes in normie people. It's as if I like what you have to say, but it has to come down to the same conclusion as I have said. It's so outrageously stupid. You see, I remember doing a project in my English class, learning about Derrida's deconstruction, and I used the band Atari Teenage Riot as an example of deconstruction in literature. I was very persuasive and very to the point about what is to be written on the subject. But what do you think I got? I got an F, simply because I offended people's feelings. And this is kind of a true story right now, what I'm about to say. I am a good, good grades doesn't mean you're a good student. Good grades just mean you're obeying the ideology they want you to hear. I mean, especially if you're in a liberal private school, especially if you take, some social justice class, they're going to just talk to you about Hillary is the truth and Trump is wrong, 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 and all this silly stuff where, oh, Hillary won the popular vote. This really is silly indoctrination going on. And the normative student who's being literally abstractly being raped is just spewing out this nonsense back at the thing just to get an A plus and a GPA and then go on to grad school and then live the same sweple stuff white people like live and a wealthy college on the hill lifestyle. Well, it doesn't care because mommy and daddy are paying for all the students' colleges. I mean, that's kind of the truth. So all professors put this facade on and pretend everything is okay. I mean, I had this one bad job as an indirect salesman during the summer. And basically what I was supposed to do is I was supposed to knock on people's doors and sell them stuff. But when I got that job, everything had this facade saying, oh, you got a job, everything's great. When it turns out it's not like that at all and terrible. And there's just like the drudges of people who don't have any background have to suffer through this. And what I'm really trying to say is that there's nothing special with college. It's this institution that's trying to get your money, and you, as an 18-year-old, have no say in it. You are too young to make your own decisions, so mom and dad make the decisions for you, and you're sent it off to this thing, this institution where they rape you of your innocence and they make you this zombie being for the rest of your life. And, it seems to me in the Reformation education era in like the 80s, they all said, well, it would be fantastic if everybody had their college degree. Now I think we're in an era where that's quite the opposite. I think the radical movement of today is not, oh, I should have went to college. No, it's I should have not went to college. I mean, not that to say I'm regretting going to college right now, but the 4 or 5 years wasted. I mean, I would recommend a book called Worthless by Aaron Clary. I forget his name, but that's a good book if you do a Google search on the very short attack on the whole institution, where it's really out there. There's no business. It's a business like any other place, like a McDonald's, like a it sells you a Mick degree and you pay like $100,000 for it, at least 4 to 5 years. There's no guarantee you'll get it, but you struggle through it because it's cultural. Liberals think we'll be better if we're liberated through education. Some really silly kind of notion of life, but rather it's just making people into cultural thugs. I think really what's happening is, like me and like you, we're kind of this Jonathan Bowden type of person who basically says stuff and uses their left-wing rhetoric, and we fight it back to get our means across. It's also creating meta-narrative liberals, these idiots. And it's also creating just people who ignore the truth and just do it because of class. It seems to me during that early mid-20s age, uh, you finally grow out of that self either indoctrinated or scarred. Or maybe you're autistic, mentally retarded, and you're still asleep. But I don't think college now is kind of an answer in this age and is making people more mentally retarded. It's almost not right. I feel as though I'm now respecting someone who goes to the military, because someone who goes to the military has done all this stuff like see combat, shoot guns, be athletic, do barbaric things. There's a lot in that. Or just like doing things like starting your own business seems to be a great endeavor. It seems that college undergrad is making us into bourgeois little stick men that just sit every day, wake up, and learn shit about Derrida. It's so stupid. And finally, I'd like to say that your professor is a con artist. He knows this is true. He wasted 50, 60 years of his life doing this just to get a PhD in poetry about Caribbean people. And now this con artist is trying to tell you that he's your best friend, that he's so close. And really, he's all about, if you don't do it, and if you don't do what I say, you don't do what the system says, because I'll get fired if my boss finds out, you're going to get fired. And you're going to get an F, and I'm not going to give you the credits. You're going to waste more money on tuition, and you're going to next semester, and I don't like you. And that's what they're doing, these institutions. If you're alt-right or some alt-left figure, they're going to purge you. They're going to purge you if you say something contradictory or related. They don't care. It's not about being open-minded. It's not this strange autistic libertarian. There is no classical liberalism. There is no progressivism. It is an institution with an ideology, and they're going to purge you out of that. And the guy, your teacher, is someone no different from you or me who works at McDonald's and is a con artist who spent his money because he hasn't decided to be a man in life and has decided to be this thing, this FBI agent, this this director of the institution on us. The professors are the scum of the earth because they are the problem. They want you oppressed. They think they are everything, but they're weaklings. They're not even strong like Jack Donovan. They are not your teachers. They're not full of wisdom. They are itself the problem. They are, once again, do not say your professor was your greatest person in life. These are just crooked men who want you to believe in pretentious intellectualism that will make eventually whites be pretentious, believing ideals like Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, this crazy lunatic nonsense stuff. Once again, the only way to cure of this is just remember, you as a consenting consumer are giving money away to an institution, and you should get the best out of your transaction, whether that includes being yourself in the institution or doing what you want to do. Your professor is no different from a geek that you hate or some feminist, probably because they're not enlightened. I'm pretty sure a better PhD would probably be Jason Giorgiani, who's wrote Prometheus and Atlas. It just makes sense. Someone who can learn 3 languages and write all this cultural book, compared to some bumfuck professor who never left the state, went to all his community colleges, states, and just with borrowed money becomes a PhD in Shakespeare. You realize there's so many con PhDs out there, it's not even funny.